Hello and welcome to the Untranslatable podcast. We are here recording episode 181, and today we're talking about the election process. So if you are a listener from abroad, curious about what's going on with the U.S. presidential elections and kind of how these work, we are here to try to give you the quick and dirty, fast little, some fun facts about the election process in the States. So stay tuned, and I'm curious to see what great facts and other good tidbits my buddy Jared has come up with. So without further ado, my buddy Jared, what's going on, Jared?
Hello. You know, I got so excited for this idea, but then when I just heard you talking about it, I'm like, oh no. First of all, really gonna, this will not only speak to, you not only learn about the election system, specifically for the president. We're talking specifically presidential here, but you'll also learn about the lack of education in the American schools, all in one foul swoop during this episode today. First off, please spread a little love. Everyone follow us. Well, I guess I should say, please follow us on Instagram, Untranslatable Podcast. We're here in person together again. It's always fun when we're here in person. So, you know, Instagram tends to be more poppin' when we're in person.
True.
And enjoy it with us, because we're enjoying being together here.
Definitely.
Twitter, spread a little love. Untranslatable one, I'm spreading some love over there, too. I didn't forget about you. Twitter's my favorite. Instagram, I tolerate Instagram. The thing about Instagram is you can only enjoy Instagram for so long, because I can only look at so many pictures and stuff, you know? Like
what about the videos, though, Jared?
Well, the videos are good too. Sometimes I'm at work. I can only watch so many videos. I like the
boomerangs.
On Twitter, I like the mix of jokes that you can get, the mix of serious information. Like, you can't see what's trending on Instagram and find out about serious things.
So, question for you. Is Twitter news kind of like meme news, or is it more accurate?
Well, meme news is a subset of Twitter news.
Okay.
Twitter news is probably about as accurate as a whole as meme news is, though. So I'd say yes. I would say if you like zoom back on the amount of lies versus the amount of fact that is spewed, how dare you spew fact at me on Twitter? Definitely, it's at meme news levels of proportions there.
Okay.
But I did get rid of Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder.
That treating you?
Oh, it's great. It's great. You know why I bring that up? Because I wonder, does that count as minimalism? As for my 30-day minimalism challenge, does Facebook count? I deleted it before the challenge, so it doesn't matter. But I'm curious in general, because
I would give it to you. I feel like that counts.
Because
do you think you're going to get it back again after the 30 days, or do you think you're done?
I think I'm done. I haven't done the full delete. Okay. It's on the temporary delete.
Okay.
There's also a lot of pictures that I feel like I got to do something with, but I don't want them on my computer because I'm never going to look at them. But it feels weird to just get rid of them. You know what I mean?
Right. Get like a cheap external hard drive.
You mean like the one right there?
Boom. Problem solved. Put your pictures right there.
Or even I have like one of these USB thumb drive things that I never do anything with.
Yep,
just fill one up with all my pictures.
Sure.
That's a good idea. Speaking of which, Chad, how's your 30-day minimalism challenge going?
Well, I got a question for you, as I'm sure you anticipated. Do giving gifts count as participating?
Getting rid of items in your house or in your living space is what it is. So it doesn't matter how you get rid of them. It's just don't give. If you take out a gift right now and give it to me, I'm going to slap you in the face.
I have 5 gifts.
Just every time you come here, you just unload your shit on me. I brought some more gifts.
I got a big trunk. It would be very doable.
Chad, I don't need these old pencils.
It's okay, Jared. They're red and blue, and I know you like those colors, so enjoy them.
Don't dodge the question, Chad. How is your minimalism challenge going?
Terrible. Haven't given anything away yet.
But you haven't gotten rid of anything? You haven't even thrown anything away?
Well, I've donated. Well, that's not true. I've donated a bunch of clothing.
Have you? Okay, but you haven't put any sort of. You fully disregarded the whole 30-day minute. So you've done the challenge.
So
but you've fully given up on the whole 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 thing that we were doing here.
Yes and no, I guess. I stopped doing it while I was in Ohio because I was there for 5 days?
Yeah.
And I just
got to make it up.
a couple days ago. Oh, shoot, you're right. All right, well, got to do some math there. That's some stuff.
Well, here's the deal. I technically started mine. I knew you're right. I did anticipate this, Chad.
I figured you would.
Know so much about you. I started my today's Wednesday. I started my 30-day minimalism challenge on Monday.
Oh, nice.
So first of all, when we recorded that episode, obviously that episode doesn't come out immediately.
Right.
There's a little stagger to it. Honestly,
True.
I don't know if that episode has even come out yet. So I didn't want to wait until the episode came out because then I just probably wouldn't do it. So I decided to start on a Monday because that's easy to remember. And I decided to give it some time because I know your bitch ass was not going to participate. And so if you would like to participate, now's your chance. So in theory, today's day 3. Yep. I threw away a pair. Did you see on the on our Instagram that I threw away? It's interesting. Sometimes when I see you like stuff on our Instagram, I'm like, how funny is it to watch Chad participate in our Instagram like he's a fan or
That's
something?
Right. I like your work, Jared. I am a fan. I'm a fan.
Thank you. And then also, I think I forgot what I was talking about. I got distracted by that text message that just distracted me. Anyway, I did. Oh yeah. Then sometimes I think it's hilarious that you don't notice anything that happens on there, and just full things go by and you have no idea that they happened.
Well, when did you post it? I've had a busy day today so far.
Anyway, what I posted on the story was that on day 1, which it was Monday, I got rid of a pair of 15-year-old glasses. Actually,
oh, nice.
They used to sit right next to that pair of glasses right there. Those glasses are probably going to go soon.
Okay.
So that was the first thing I got rid of. I've had these glasses forever.
15-year-old glasses.
They're probably one of my earliest pairs of glasses. Maybe not 15. Maybe
they still work?
What do you mean? Do they still work?
Like, can you still see properly through them?
No.
Okay.
I didn't fully put them on because they were kind of gross. They've accumulated
some dust.
10 years of dust. It's probably more 12 years, maybe 12 years.
Okay.
So those might be the next ones to go. And then yesterday, I got rid of you saw this card that I showed you?
Yep.
Under it, I had this cool little gift card it was like a postcard from a bar that around the corner, and it was like a cool little postcard thing. But I went to this bar months and months ago, and it's just been sitting there. And so I'm like, I'm not going to do anything with this. The bar is literally a 5-minute walk from my house if I really want it. Another one, I can just go back.
True.
And I also got rid of a beer tap, like one of those big beer tap things. Have you seen it before?
Yeah.
It's been around here.
What'd you do with it?
I threw it away.
Okay.
I acquired it from a friend, and I've just been sitting around following me. It was in the background of my Harry Potter studios. It was nice decoration, Fair. I guess. But it's like, what am I going to do with this thing? So I threw it away.
Okay.
So day 3, I haven't done anything yet today, but I have some ideas.
I've got to say, Jared, unfortunately, I did the opposite of the minimalism challenge while I was in Ohio. So I went to a half-off bookstore.
I can tell. You're looking a little thick there, Chief.
Thank you, sir.
I'm just kidding. That's a joke, everyone. That's a joke.
I went to a half-off bookstore, found all sorts of cool books.
Books are okay.
Books are okay?
Well, are you good at getting rid of old books? No. You haven't done anything.
You've been in my house? No, definitely not.
I love looking at a full bookshelf, though. It does look...
Mine are a little too full. I
rarely reread books, though. I'm not a good rereader of books.
I don't mind occasionally going back and just kind of skimming through them. Once in a while, it can be kind of nice. But yeah, I got some really cool language books. Got a few books on Ruski or Russian. So that's pretty cool. Still trying to learn how to read the Cyrillic alphabet. That's been a bit challenging.
So far, are you finding Russian to be easier or harder than Czech?
Ask me that when I've spent about half a year studying Russian, like I did with Czech, because right now it's hard to say.
Okay,
but
that's fair.
There is some similarity between some of the words and stuff in Russian and Czech, but the pronunciation is different, so that throws me off.
Right. And it was interesting, though, but alphabet-wise, Czech might have been a nice stepping stone, because it was still our alphabet, but they had a lot of little changes to it.
Right.
Now this is a full different alphabet, so it's a nice stepping stone. So you're like, all right, I'm sort of used to different characters, but now it's like, oh, okay, this is a whole different level.
Right.
And then obviously Chinese is, although Chinese and Russian, as far as learning characters, is one harder than the other?
I think Chinese is more difficult, yeah.
Is it probably because in the Russian one, it's easier for you to relate a character to a letter that we have?
I would say so, yeah.
How many characters do they have in Russian?
How many letters?
Sure, yeah. Well, you can't say characters? They don't call them characters?
I would say they're letters, not characters.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it would be Japanese or Chinese or Korean. Those are characters.
Yeah.
So Arabic, those are characters?
No,
those are letters?
Those are letters, yeah. I'm pretty sure.
You're blowing my mind.
I'm pretty sure, yeah, those are letters.
We could have a whole episode on letters versus characters.
We can. We should. That'd be fun.
That sounds so boring.
But yeah, Cyrillic it's interesting because like the backwards N is an I sound in Russian. The P is an R.
Right.
So Russia in Cyrillic is spelled like, it looks like PYCC. Oh, shoot. No, I'm not remembering the last. I think it's an I. So it's a backwards N.
Okay.
Is Russia.
So could you recite the alphabet?
No.
You haven't gotten there yet?
No, not yet.
Could you write it out?
No, not the whole alphabet.
Okay.
Not yet. Which is funny, man, when you're like 28 years old and you feel kind of like a child again when you're learning a new language because it's all, you know what I mean? Like I can say a couple basic phrases, but that's pretty much it, and I can kind of read it.
I saw on our Instagram, Untranslatable Podcast, that you were messing around with Duolingo a little bit.
Yes, I was.
But that was German that you put up there. I assume
it was kind of funny.
I assume you're mostly using it for Russian?
Da.
Niet.
Da.
See, I know a little Russian too.
There you go.
I'm not totally useless.
Most definitely not.
My babushka told me I'm real smart.
Yeah, I did German just because I wanted to see what level I would test at. Can you guess where I tested at?
Fluent?
Tested out of it.
Like there's no, Duolingo has nothing for you.
Nope. Nothing. I mean, it's good review.
Sure.
But
it can't hurt.
But after like 10 to 15 minutes, it gets a little boring.
I mentioned that to you, but there's still probably, I think, a lot of room for me for Duolingo to be more helpful for me than you.
Sure.
But I obviously started on like, never learned German before. Or maybe a little higher than that. I think I might have actually started on but it was like even I started on like intermediate or something, and I'm like, this isn't doing it. Like this isn't really doing anything for me.
Sure.
But they're still advanced and stuff. I just stopped caring at that point.
Right.
Do you want to spread a little love?
Yes, I do actually.
Chad?
I do. So I gotta say, Jared, there's really a lot of panic and fear going around right now with COVID-19 and the coronavirus. But I think we have a luxury nowadays that people didn't used to have, which is technology.
Twitter.
Also Twitter. I mean, it's part of technology. There are a lot of places in Italy, a lot of companies that have tried to help people by digitizing things and to support people who are quarantined and stuck in lockdown right now. So there are a bunch of different companies right now.
Our friend Don, his company mandated at least, well, they said for now 2 weeks. That's where they started, but obviously they could extend it. But he's on mandated work from home right now too.
Right, which I don't think is necessarily a bad idea.
Yeah, we've been talking about it at my company.
Could you do your work completely from home, more or less?
Yes, for sure.
Then why do we even go to an office?
But I also have a job that is a lot of people requesting stuff from me. So yeah, they could still request it from me virtually,
right?
But it's definitely like a barrier, like especially because sometimes I'm like, hold on, explain this to me because maybe people don't really understand what it is you do, but they know what they give you or whatever. So it's like it definitely. I've worked from home before at previous jobs, and it's doable. But I honestly believe that it feels like it slows down productivity. At least it does for me. But it just feels like it slows down. Like for example, at my last company, when I worked, we had the main office, and then literally a 3 to 5 minute drive down the street was the factory where a lot of production happened.
Okay, yeah, that's nice.
And it was great, but the department I was in had a lot of interaction with those people, and they moved us to the offices in the production place because they're like, you're going to be way more efficient moving 3 minutes down the street.
Okay.
And so I do think there is something to face-to-face, but I also think that it's not like all these companies, any company where you work in a cubicle essentially can be done from home.
True.
For the most part, obviously, that's a broad generalization. But for the most part, everyone has every company has a VPN, so in a network where you can plug into, and I think that there's no point in taking the risk. We've been talking that we're kind of surprised that they haven't said anything yet. Like they have mandated travel at my company in meetings. Like they say, don't do meetings bigger than 30 people. If you can, book a meeting room bigger than you need so you can spread out a little bit in the room. They have such small stuff like that. But we're like, we're wondering when, but maybe also because it's such a big company, it's harder for them to make that call.
Sure.
Don's company's kind of small, and so maybe it's easier for them to make that call. But it's a much bigger call, when you're dealing with like a global company.
There are even universities now that are doing completely remote classes.
Yeah. I was gonna bring that up later, but yes, that's very true. That's very true. And I've been wondering how that's gonna work out. How Michigan State, for example, your alma mater for grad school at least, has and actually a couple other schools in Michigan too. Central Michigan, I believe, also, and I believe Michigan Tech as well.
More will, trust me.
They're on spring break right now, and they're essentially saying after spring break, don't come back.
Yep, stay home.
I don't know how. Well, granted, now this is another thing. This is the opposite situation that I see with companies. I don't know how schools can make that switch. So I don't know how schools can go. Like at our school, Albion, it seems like it would be impossible to just be like, don't come in. It's all going to be online. I don't know. I don't think they have the infrastructure to do that. At least when we were there, I feel like that's not possible.
I don't know. I think they could have done it.
You think so?
I think so, yeah.
Just like this, like send out links to like Zoom,
exactly.
or something like that.
I mean, yeah, I think, but I feel old saying this, but we graduated 6 years ago. Right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I feel like a lot has changed in terms of what's available now technologically, in comparison to where we were at when we were in undergrad.
I guess so. It just seems like such a huge call to say for schools to say, don't come in and take classes online. How much does that blow for the students too? Because I remember when I was on break, I was like, you're back home. You're back home at your parents' house. Mm-hmm. Your parents are asking you where you're going. Half of your friends are nowhere close to you.
Welcome to my life, my man. Welcome.
And you're like, I want to get back to school so bad.
Right.
And now you just still are doing the school part, but they're like, stay home. And I was like, oh God. I just got to do the worst part. It's just the worst of both worlds.
True.
But obviously, I get it. We had a flu outbreak at our school, but it's crazy to see that happen. Mm-hmm. And it seems like I don't know. It's so weird seeing the polar opposites online. Sometimes you see people are overreacting, like some people's Lord and Savior Elon Musk freaking tweeted out.
Oh yeah,
people are. I don't know exactly what he said, but something along the lines of people are blowing this whole thing out of proportion. And then other people are like, "Oh, this is just the beginning, Buckaroo." Yep. But it's so crazy because it's all people talk about.
Oh, it's just the beginning, though, for sure.
Like at restaurants, in the background, you hear people talking about it. At work, I hear people talking about it. People I'm not even talking to.
You hear it everywhere.
Everywhere. That's all people are talking about.
I wonder if we should not talk about it on the podcast.
I always, it's the crazy thing.
Because it is everywhere now.
I'm going to be honest with you. I had no plan on bringing it up this podcast. Granted.
I blew it. My bad, Jared.
I did plan on bringing it up next podcast.
Okay, fair enough.
I was planning on talking about that university stuff next podcast, but I do like the idea of at least not talking about it every single podcast like we seem like we have been doing, but everyone's talking about it. You can't help it.
That's true.
But I definitely was planning on talking about it next episode, so I'm not trying to be holier than that.
All right. Well, I'll probably talk about it next episode too then. But
I'm not going to now because we just did. That's what I was going to talk. That's what I was going to say.
You know what we should really talk about though, Jared?
The untranslatables. Now, not enough people are talking about this.
That's true.
Every day I go to Twitter and the first thing I do is check to see if Untranslatables is finally trending, and it's not yet. Are you guys not hearing this owl? That means it's time for the Untranslatables. I guess I'll start there, Chad.
All right. Try not to cheat.
My first one is French, And I got this one from untranslatable.co, our friend Amadens, only because I just happened to be scrolling and it made me laugh. So I'm like,
Cool.
I'll tell it to Chad.
I'm excited.
And I'm going to Paris in 2 months. Wah wah. Ce n'est pas la mer à boire. It's not like you have to drink the ocean.
Like you don't need to eat or drink so fast. Like slow down.
Little less literal than that, but you're essentially a little less literal than that.
Slow down.
For example, I have a perfect example.
Okay.
Let's say you take some great picture, and I ask you to send it to me, and you go to screenshot, and I was like, oh no, can you save it and and just send me the actual picture because the quality will be much better if you don't screenshot it. And you're like, I don't know how to do that. I don't know if I can save the picture. And I'm like, what are you talking about? It's not like you have to drink the ocean. Just save the picture.
Just do it. It's not that difficult.
There you go. Yeah. Not just do it. The second part.
It's not. Yeah.
It's not that difficult.
All right. My first one for you is Persian.
Turns out it wasn't that difficult.
I guess not.
Now we can replace coronavirus talk with Chad Tech Talk. That would be fun.
Oh,
I could have a whole section of this podcast for fun things where I'm like, did you know Chad didn't know how to? I can't think of another one right now. All right, that's a bad segment.
Anyways, my first untranslatable is Persian, and it is kartokare, and it means donkey inside of a donkey.
Donkey inside of a donkey. It's like we got a real conundrum going on right here.
Hit that ham horn, I'll give it to you.
Oh wow.
I'll give it to you. Chaos and disorganization.
Yeah, I'd say that's fair. I'd say that's the definition of conundrum.
I would say so too.
My next one is Swedish, and it is I love these little things I write to myself. And so there's nothing to decipher here. I just enjoyed this one.
Nice.
Because there are a lot of ones that I like, but it's like it's obvious, but it's still fun and something that I would definitely use.
Yep.
Like it's not like you have to drink the ocean. I would use that. So this one I like too, and I brought it up because I want to use it. Smaken som baken de lad.
Which means?
Taste is like your bum, divided.
What? Okay. I don't even know where to begin with that.
You don't get it? Taste is like your butt. Divided.
Like you have bad taste?
Two cracks, Right. And it's like taste is, everyone's split. It's split and down the middle.
Oh, I see.
Split down the middle. And you can go two ways with it. One butt cheek goes left, one goes right,
That is how butt cheeks work. Okay, good call, Jared. All right, my next one for you is Italian, and it is mozzafiato.
Okay, that's cheese fight or cheese.
No.
Okay.
Mozzare means to cut off.
Oh, I assume that was mozzarella.
No. Mozzarella.
Mozzarella.
So mozzare is to cut out, and fiato is breath.
To kill someone?
To cut out your breath.
Okay, so it's not to kill yourself?
So we're gonna have some pizza later, Jared. If the pizza's really good, it might be.
You're gonna stuff your face with it.
No, if you have you been to the Grand Canyon before?
No, but I'm familiar with it.
Okay. Well, it means breathtaking. Breathtaking. Cut out your breath. Take your breath.
See, when I heard, I thought a different kind of breathtaking, where it's like you eat so much that
you die.
No, maybe not necessarily die, and maybe not even necessarily so breathtaking that it causes cardiac arrest. But it's just like sort of like
coma.
You stuff your
your face,
you stuff yourself to where you can barely
your pie
breathe.
hole.
All right, I have one more, and it's Bulgarian, and it goes, Chisha se kareto ne me sarbi. And and that is to scratch where it doesn't itch.
Which means scratch where it doesn't itch. Means to do something unnecessarily.
You're on the right track. I wish I could give you a half ham horn. I'm going to tell it to you because this might be tough.
Okay.
It's when you're doing something wrong, but you also are trying to get away with it, but you can't hide it, but like what you're doing, but you're trying to get away with it. To scratch where it doesn't itch.
To hustle somebody?
But Essentially,
what?
yeah. Well, yeah, where it's like you're doing something wrong, but you're still trying to get away with it, and you're And I think when they say to scratch where it doesn't itch, I imagine someone unnecessarily, where it's like as a nervous tick kind of thing. That's what I picture when I hear that.
Okay.
I'm actually, speaking of which, I'm starting to get a little nervous about this election coming up.
That's true.
The presidential election. So, first of all, the presidential election happens every 4 years in the United States. The presidential election happens every 4 years.
November.
I'm trying to make.
2nd?
I think it's the first Tuesday of November.
Oh, is it?
Is that what it is?
I have no idea. Although I will say this, Jared, it should be a national holiday.
It should be. And that would get into a whole conversation about why it isn't, which is probably mostly due to voter suppression.
True.
And Tuesday, November 3rd. I believe it's the first Tuesday of
Makes
November.
sense.
And although in Michigan, it's interesting. In Michigan, I was hearing. We'll get to that. Let's just go through the process. I found this handy little picture infographic, I guess is the word. Actually, I could pull it up right here. That would be great.
That would be great. I'd like to see it.
Now,
can you?
That might take a sec because
I think you should do it. I think it's worth it.
Oh my gosh! All right, we're gonna do it.
So yeah, the election right now, though the primaries are finishing. Michigan finished yesterday. Well, when this comes out, it would have been a little bit ago. Sorry to break the fourth wall, but yeah. So you have your primary elections. Your Democratic and Republican candidates. Oh, that's Prague.
It is. I took that picture.
Oh, but what?
Yeah.
You can set your own picture as your Google background?
And welcome to our next segment of obvious things Chad didn't realize.
Cool. Yeah, I didn't realize that.
Yes, you can. And if I'm not mistaken, I can also do this little thing here where I just watch this computer screen right here.
I'm watching. It'll just pop up there?
Yeah. What I have on this computer screen.
Yeah.
I believe I can make it just pop up over here.
We'll see. We'll find out.
I'm going to blame this on you because... oh, no. See, it doesn't.
That's a good graphic, though. I saw that one earlier.
Yeah, it doesn't work, though. And I don't remember where I found it. So, I mean, we can pause if we want, if you really want me to pull it up.
Nah, it's all good.
All right. We'll figure it out in a second.
Describe it to our listeners, Jared.
It's just an infographic that shows you the process of voting. That's all it is for you in the United States.
For the presidential election.
For the presidential election. The only reason I'm making that clear is I can just hear someone being like, well, every 2 years, really it's every 2 years. You didn't forget about the primary. Really, local is more important. And it's like, yeah, we know. That's not the point. But anyway, so yeah. Let's start with what you have to do to even run for president.
Got to be a natural-born U.S. citizen.
Which means?
That's a good question, Jared. I think a lot of people say that it means you have to be born on U.S. soil.
Mm-hmm.
But what happens if you're born somewhere else to American parents?
I don't think that counts. I think you have to be born in a U.S. in the country of the United States, which counts as like an embassy or a consulate or whatever, or a military base.
Right.
But I think outside of that, you're not born in the United States, and I don't think you can.
Right. So you have to be a natural-born citizen, have to be at least 35 years of age.
Yes.
I feel like that's not actually too bad of a number. I feel like 35 is can you imagine like a 25-year-old or a 30-year-old president?
I think that's fair.
Yeah,
I think that's fair.
Solid.
Honestly, it's funny. I agree with that, but we have gone the complete opposite direction at this point. We got a whole bunch of
That's true.
freaking geezers in there. Yeah, I said it.
True.
I'm sick
They are
of
geezers.
choosing between different 70-plus
Geezer
year
1
olds.
and Geezer 2?
Yeah. You look at Biden out there, it's like, bro, sit down. You need a blanket over your lap.
Well, you do realize that his the interviews, debates that he's going to do with Bernie, they're going to be sitting, I'm pretty sure. They changed it for him.
Jesus Christ.
Yep. You didn't hear about that?
I think there should be the most basic of requirements that this is actually a perfect time to pause. This is a perfect time to pause, and I can we took a break. We got the infographic up.
Yep.
We realized we enough bashing old people. We don't I would prefer a younger candidate.
Sure, wouldn't
But
hurt.
that's not what we have to choose from right now. We're not trying to bash old people.
But let's talk about how
The
people
process.
become president. So natural born citizen, at least 35 years old.
Correct.
And interestingly enough, a resident of the U.S. for the last 14 years. Or
Now-
maybe at least 14 years. I'm not sure.
At least 14 years, yeah.
Okay.
So now I don't know. Yeah, it probably has to be the last 14 years, you'd imagine.
Right.
Now, I don't know how they chose 14 specifically, but that seems like an obvious truth. If you're going to run for president, you should probably at least lived here for a while, know what's going on firsthand.
Yeah, doesn't hurt.
Doesn't hurt. Granted, the president now does live here, and I don't think he knows what's going on.
You're probably not too wrong about that.
But this is not about that. Okay.
So you have your primaries and caucuses next after you've
So
passed those requirements.
caucuses are first.
Yes.
The caucuses happen in Iowa and New Hampshire.
Mm-hmm.
What the F is a caucus?
It's a good question. It's a weird word, weird sounding word.
Because the caucus became a parody of itself over the last go around.
Isn't that when you choose who will be representing the party?
The Iowa caucus are biennial electoral events for members of the Democratic and Republican parties in the United States of Iowa.
Yeah, okay.
In the United State of Iowa. This is the Iowa caucus, but New Hampshire is essentially the same thing.
Right, sure.
Unlike primary elections in most other U.S. states, where registered voters go to polling places to cast ballots, Iowans, and we'll get into more info on that later, Iowans instead gather at local caucus meetings to discuss and vote the candidates during both the presidential and midterm election seasons. Registered Iowan voters vote in a per precinct caucus for the day of which they are registered as a member. The caucuses are held to select delegates to county conventions and party committees, among other party activities. So what they do is that they all gather and they chit-chat to sort of decide who's the best, and then they vote after the chit-chat.
Sounds right.
What's the point? But they don't vote with a ballot. I think they vote by hand.
I have no idea.
All right, let's
That's a
read
good
about the 2020. This is Wikipedia,
Caucus?
because it was turned into a shit show, and then we'll move on from caucuses. I just want to understand what a caucus is and why
Sure.
it is turning into a parody of itself, essentially. The 2020 Iowa caucus, but that is what a caucus was. Did you not understand anything of what I just said?
No, I got it.
Okay, because if I would be fair if you did, and I barely did, just to be clear. I'm not. I wasn't. I know I usually am, but I wasn't blaming you for anything. The 2020 Iowa caucuses occurred on Monday, February 3rd. The result of the 2020 Iowa Democratic caucus was delayed due to inconsistencies in the reporting of 3 sets of results. According to Mandy McClure, the party's communications director, in addition to the tech systems being used to tabulate results, we are also using photos of results and a paper trail to validate that all the results match and
So
ensure
you do cast a ballot.
that we have confidence and accuracy in the numbers we report. This is simply a reporting issue. The app did not go down, and this is not a hack or an intrusion. The underlying data and paper trail is sound, and we simply take time to further report the results. Now, that's what the director said. So,
Sure.
Delays in reporting were attributed to the failure of a new reporting app for the Iowa Democratic Party presidential caucus, including an inability to download or launch apps, as well as an inability for the app to function once loaded. Now, that actually takes into consideration the idea of using apps. But then also there was a point where
Have some technical
I saw
difficulties
on, now maybe this was New Hampshire, I don't know, but someone was like flipping a coin.
Really?
At one of the caucuses, and like the way he was flipping a coin was totally wrong in itself. Like you can even flip a coin right. It was a shit show.
That's
Anyway,
not good.
what we do here in our state and what we're more familiar with is the primary, and that's
Yep.
way more simple. Michigan has an open primary,
Yep.
which means you don't have to be part of any political party to vote in the primary. In some states, is a closed primary. You have to be you have to be a member of the Democratic
Party
or Republican Party,
Correct.
to vote in their primary.
Right.
In the primary
Can you be a member of both?
parties,
Yeah, why not?
no.
That's no fun. Why not?
No. I mean, you've seen the.
It's crazy.
I guess I've never
It's-
tried clicking
Right.
two.
It's crazy
I
though
don't
that you
know.
can't vote for both.
Well, that's why we have an open primary, because
Right.
I think people in Michigan agree with you. The people of
Right.
Michigan agree with you, and some I don't. But some people probably think maybe they feel like there's the chance for sabotage. You know, maybe a bunch of Republicans will vote for the Democrat that they, either think that won't have a high chance, or try to cut it so it messes up who's the leading guy or something.
That's true.
So maybe that's the fear for some of those close states. And then so what that is that's what's happening right now. Mm-hmm. And so,
The primary.
The primary, yes. Although by the time this comes out, we probably know who's
We'll be done with the primaries, yeah. Get into your crystal ball, Jared. Who do you think it'll be? Make some wild predictions, Jared.
I'm going to guess it's going to be Biden. It doesn't seem like there's any way. And I don't know.
I agree with you.
And this seemed like Bernie's best chance. Mm-hmm. Because he's the second place guy. That's why I'm specifically saying Bernie.
Right.
It seemed like his best chance. And at this point, there's he can't run in 4 more years.
No, probably not.
That's insane.
Yeah.
He's literally an insane person if he does that. It's like, bro.
He is a little crazy, though.
Sure, of course. They're all
don't get me
crazy.
wrong, I love
Everyone's
Bernie,
crazy to want to run for president.
True.
You want that stupid job?
Nope.
Make $400,000 a year for that? You can make more at a corporate job sitting behind a desk. Mm-hmm. I would. I don't. It makes no sense.
You don't want
to
to
me.
be president? I was hoping for your 36th birthday to announce your presidential
Would you be
run.
my campaign manager?
No.
Okay, I was about to say.
I want you to succeed, Jared. I want you to succeed.
Okay, damn it. You took the joke from me.
I'd be your speechwriter.
Okay, you can do that.
Mm-hmm.
You took the joke from me. I was so going to say that. I was like, good, because that means there's no chance I'd ever become president.
Right. So, after the primaries, though, then you got the general elections.
Yes. So, the primary, you had a nominee for each. So,
first of all, though, Jared, sorry to interrupt. Did you vote? I'm not going to ask you for whom.
Yes.
Did you vote? Okay, me too.
And it's so interesting. It's so funny to me to hear people talk about going to the polls. People are afraid of the virus, and so they're especially. There is actually a rumor that there's a case in Michigan now. There's a rumor that they waited to put it out till after the primaries on purpose, and that they actually knew about it before, but they're afraid people wouldn't go.
Oakland County and
I don't know. But because I don't talk about that.
Fair.
But
fair, good call.
I voted weeks ago because I mailed it in. I do absentee.
Smart.
But the only thing about absentee is there is a little part of me that's like, I don't know where this goes, and if anything happens with this.
True. Yeah.
And I'll take you one step further. I don't even send mine in. Me and my girlfriend
just throw it on the street and hope it gets picked up by a mailman.
Fill it out, throw it in the garbage can.
Perfect. Perfect.
That's what it means to vote in America. No, we take it to the city council place and put it in their little Dropbox.
Okay.
So we don't. I'm not concerned about it getting
reputable.
lost in the mail even.
Right.
Anyway,
general elections.
General election debates. Do you watch debates?
It's been a while
because we skipped over. Sorry, I cut you off. We skipped over the fact that there are debates during the primaries. All the Democrats. It's so ridiculous seeing 10 plus people line up to talk in an hour.
Oh god, that's awful.
You and I can barely do a podcast in an hour, let alone 10 people telling us why they're the right person to lead the country in an hour and a half or whatever it is.
Well, I also think the debates are a bit entertaining when you have some politicians who do say crazy stuff in the debates against their opponents.
The early ones are good for that too, because there are a lot of people that are going to drop out soon, or a lot of people that aren't going to make it. So you do kind of get the crazies. Remember the Howard Dean scandal many years ago? He was, I don't remember what year this was, but he was a
potato.
He was a pretty reputable. Did he what?
No? Did you misspell the word potato? There was one American politician that misspelled the word potato.
I haven't heard that.
Really?
No.
Oh, man.
The one I'm thinking of, Howard Dean, which I could probably pull up, but it's not worth it. He was, this wasn't during a debate, but he was, and this was before there were really viral clips. This was early social media. This might have been first Obama run, maybe.
Okay.
He was a Democrat. That's why I say it like that.
Dan Quayle. Sorry, it was the one who misspelled the potato.
Okay. Well, look up Howard Dean. The Howard Dean yell. Look up the Howard Dean yell.
Howard Dean yell?
Yeah. And we can just play it from your computer because I don't feel like pulling it up on my phone, and it's just a headache. There you go.
Oh, yes.
There you go.
They did a Chappelle Show skit on this.
Stay home.
Oh,
Okay.
We'll mute it. Don't worry, Jay.
No, I put my mic
We
right
don't
up
need
into
the
it.
turbo tax. I know you did. All right,
Although
here
I
we
do
go.
need to do my-
Woo! Well, you guys, you have already got the picture here. I was about to say, I'm sure there's some disappointed
Skip it
people
up.
here. You know what?
Just hit the front arrow.
1 year ago that we were going to, and you know something? North Carolina and Oklahoma and Arizona and North Dakota and New Mexico. And we're going to California and New York. And we're going to South Dakota and Oregon and Washington and Michigan.
And Michigan.
We're going to Washington, D.C. to take back the White House.
Wait. Put that mic back on there. One more time. Put that mic back on there. Put that mic back on there.
I called.
We're going to Washington, D.C. to take back the White House.
Oh, that's a drop right there.
Oh, my God. All right, hold up. Just...
And Oregon and Washington and Michigan. And then we're going to Washington, D.C. to take back the White House.
Oh, my God. Just...
There's
this guy is ridiculous. So anyways...
essentially that ruined. People joke that ruined his campaign. Because no one took him seriously after that. But the thing is, he was just hype.
He was super. Can I hire him to be the hype man of our podcast?
The crowd.
You're gonna listen to the Untranslatable podcast. Yeah.
The crowd was hype. You heard how hype they were. They were screaming.
Look at his face.
He's
dude. Yeah.
red.
He's ready.
Yeah. Although I will say that sound has never even crossed my mind.
So now,
Mine as a sound to come out of my mouth.
Was this a primary or
Yes.
general election?
Primary. So I believe this was when he was going up against Obama.
And Washington and Michigan. And then we're going to Washington, D.C. to take back the White House.
Oh man, that's hilarious.
Okay, so debates are
election.
entertaining to you.
Yep.
The thing is, though, I get stressed out watching the. Maybe this is more in the recent years. I get legitly stressed out watching the like the debates, especially the later ones. Where it's
Why is that?
well, the ones with our current president. I'm like, whenever I see people try to like argue shit with him, I'm like, why are we taking this guy seriously?
True.
It's so ridiculous. It's just such a farce to me to watch it.
Yeah.
And it just makes me so mad that we're in a place where this has to happen.
The sad thing is he's going to destroy Biden.
Yeah.
Yep. Straight up destroy him in the debate.
I know.
Yep. He's gonna hired.
Biden is
Howard
not.
Dean.
Biden is slowing down, and he's just not. It's the main problem is he's just not quick enough. He just can't.
True.
Oh my God. Anyway.
So we got the general elections. After that, though,
Yes.
then
That's the
big
big daddy.
cheese, the big daddy, as you said, Jared, the Electoral College.
Yes.
Tell us what it is, Jared.
The Electoral College. Now, I actually have it in my notes what it is because the Electoral College is a mess to me.
It is. It's delegates who supposedly are representing the people of those states and
Right.
counties and cities and whatnot. And they are supposed to vote, in theory, how their constituents want. That is, however, not always the case.
So they do it. The reason they do it,
Population size.
yes, and
and
so it's
representation.
it's essentially states get proper representation,
Correct.
and it's not just a blowout based off of population,
Right.
But in my eyes, that's still a proper representation.
Sure.
But anyway, here's according to CNN, fake news central, as some people might think. But
Right.
I mean, how much
You
could they
got to
lie?
read Fox News' page as well.
How much could they lie about what the Electoral College is?
Right.
Americans who go how it works. I don't need to hear the little background of
Right.
it. There's an elector for every member of the House of Representatives. There are 435 House of Representatives and Senate, and there are 100 senators. Plus an additional 3 people who live in Washington, D.C. Each state gets at least 3 electors. California, the most popular state, has 53 congressmen and 2 senators, so they get 55 electoral votes.
Yep.
Texas, the largest reliably Republican slipping on gator piss leaning state, has 36 congressmen and 2 senators, so they get 38 electoral votes.
How many is Michigan? I feel like I should know this. How many is Michigan? I can look it up.
6 states, Alaska, Delaware, Montana, North Dakota, Vermont, 1% of the 2%, and Wyoming are so small population-wise that they only have 1 congressman apiece and the lowest possible 3 electoral votes. So even though they have 1 congressman because of how small they are, they all will at least get 3 electoral votes.
Okay.
Washington, D.C. also gets 3 electoral votes. Voters in Puerto Rico and other non-state territories get no electoral votes, although they can't take part in the presidential primaries. That's just offensive.
Yeah, true.
That's so offensive. It's like, we'll let you play along, but it's not going to mean anything.
So I believe in Michigan there are 16 electors to reflect the number of senators and representatives in Congress.
Yeah, we're a pretty big-sized state.
Yeah.
But medium to big-sized, I would say we are. It takes 270 electoral votes to get a majority of the Electoral College.
Right.
The total number of electors, 538, cannot change unless there are more lawmakers added on Capitol Hill or a constitutional amendment. But the number of electors allocated to each state can change every 10 years. What they do is it like in Michigan? Will they say 50% voted, exactly 50% voted Republican, exactly 50% voted Democrat? Does that mean 8 electoral votes go each way? So Republicans get 8 electoral votes, or does someone have to win specifically in that state?
I'm not sure. That's a good question.
Okay, if there is a tie, okay, I'll just keep reading. The number of congressmen is reapportioned. That's the technical term, according to changes in the population. Some states gain a House seat or 2, or other lose some. Population stuff. No matter how small, you can have state. No matter how small, can have 0 members of Congress. No state, no matter how small, can have 0 members of Congress. Of course. Yeah, but this is why. This is why there's been a heated political debate over whether the U.S. Census should ask if someone is a citizen. Some fear that asking... Okay, I'm not going to get into that. If there's a tie among the electors, or if nobody gets a majority, then the election goes to the House of Representatives. So that's what happens.
Yep.
So that means a state has to go one way.
Yeah.
So so all the votes for that state go to what the majority of that state votes for.
So Democrat or Republican.
Why wouldn't they do it the way I just said?
I'm not sure.
Why wouldn't they just wait it and be like, all right, 48% of this state goes Democrat, 52 goes Republican, so they get that percentage of the votes.
Yeah, I don't know why that doesn't work that way either.
It's just a state has to go one way altogether.
Right. Well, that's right, because Trump won
I guess also
Michigan.
Yeah, because in Pennsylvania also is a swing state, which is where I used to live. They also went Republican this time.
Really? Okay.
Yes, I voted then too, just to be clear.
Right.
I did my part.
It is pretty crazy, though, Jared, how Hillary Clinton won the popular vote and still lost the election.
Right, because it depends on it's the strategy of the states, what state you get.
Yep.
So she got more people, but he got more states.
Delegates, yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Well, Jared, after you get the electoral votes,
yes,
then you're president.
Yes, and then you get sworn in so that's in November. You get sworn in at like the end of January usually, and then you're the president for the next 4 years
if all goes well.
And then, like for example, because this is Trump's because Trump is coming back, like what is it called when he's an incumbent? Is that what it is? He's an incumbent president. So
seeking re-election.
Yes. He has no opposition, although technically someone could oppose him.
Right.
But Republicans are pretty lockstep. They tend to fall in line pretty hard.
Yep.
So he's essentially he's uncontested, and he's the Republican Republican nominee.
Yep.
However, if and when he gets elected, which with Biden stepping in,
might happen.
Welcome our overlords for another 4 years.
Right.
But after those next 4 years, if he gets elected again, then there will be primaries full primaries on both sides. So what we see happening on the Democratic side
Will happen on the
it'll
Republican
theoretically be
side
even
as well.
crazier
Yep.
because we're only getting essentially
half.
Democratic primaries right now. But once Republicans are up too, oh, it's going to be a real shit show. And this is really and social media is only ramping up. Social media is
it
not
makes
slowing
it
down.
way worse.
And
for sure.
Trump's last one, I think was the first time social media was in full force.
Right.
Because it was in full force for Obama's, but that also was once again just the Republicans doing primaries.
Sure. Yeah.
So it wasn't full force at
yeah,
you.
it's
And
different.
social media, it was 2014 or 2008, 2012. So even back then, social media wasn't as big as it is
Not
now.
like it is now. Speaking of social media, Jared, the one thing I do love about social media, though, is access to good music. So let's talk about our song of the pod today, which is called Sans Papier by Max Herre,
Herre. You're right.
Herre, featuring Yoni.
What, Yanni, maybe?
Maybe Yanni. I'm not
One of
sure.
my favorite things about social media and finding music is colors. I found this on Colors.
On
I love
YouTube.
Colors because one, it's a lot of young people music. I'm not up to date with a lot of the young people music, and also, what else was I gonna say? Oh, and also very international colors, very international selection. This is a perfect example because Max Herre is from Stuttgart, Germany. And he is singing almost in, what do you call that? Like, I don't want to say deadpan, but it's very close to talking singing, the way he's singing. He's like, go to the store, pick up my shoes.
Yeah, it's kind of...
Think about what I'm going to do with my day.
Yeah.
And it's almost more like he's like, it's like pontificating is what it feels like. And then...
pontificating.
And like it almost feels like it needs, like if it had a little bit more reverb, you could imagine it being like in his head, you know?
Yeah,
and not
that's
actually
a good point.
And then I could imagine like the Yanni part, which is being actually what's being said, just the way I feel it. And he's sort of just he's the chorus, I guess you'd say, and he's the singer. He's singing. He's a rapper, I think technically, or not technically, but he also raps. He's also from Germany. But Sans Papier is French.
Yep.
And so the song's part German, part French, but they're both German. And I just love the combination of styles.
Sounds great.
And how how it's sort of almost a back and forth the way they do it.
Oh, definitely.
And I just thought it was a cool vibe. Honestly, first when I sent it to you, I just thought it was a cool song. And then after I sent it, I was like, oh yeah, I guess I just picked the song of the pot. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, it's really good. Great vibes, super laid back. Yeah, just the sound of the German and the French is really cool.
Yeah.
Without a doubt.
I agree.
Definitely. Well, speaking of foreign languages, Jared, I do have a Russian word of the pod today. And it is golos. And golos means vote. Thought that was very appropriate.
Huh, yeah. Yeah, I agree with you. Well, I didn't get a French word of the pod, but that's a good point. I could do, how do you say vote in French, you know? I think that's very apropos, which sounds like a French word in itself.
That's true. That's a good point.
So I'm just going to type it in. And of course, now my computer gives me the wheel as I'm trying to provide this language knowledge to the people.
Right. That's how it works. Murphy's Law, Jared.
That's true. Sod's law. Oh, voter.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Really? Vote. Okay.
All that to say voter.
There we go.
Voter.
Vote.
Vote, s'il vous plaît. Voter.
That's right. Please go vote. Golos, пожалуйста. There you go.
Пожалуйста.
So let's just recap today's episode, Jared. So the election process, in the States at least, you got to be naturally born, wherever that means. You got to be at least 35, live in the States for 14 years, win the caucus, win the primary, win the general election, and then get them electoral votes, 270, and you are chilling in that White House, my man.
Yeah. Yeah. How many people voted in the 2016 election?
I would guess probably 6 or 7 million.
Oh, I meant like percentage of the population.
No
of
idea.
the voting.
No idea. 80%. Well, it depends on the demographic, probably. Also, voter suppression, Jared.
Around 138 million voters voted in the 2016 presidential election. However, around those 138 million voters, only make up 58.1% of our voting eligible population.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So
So get out and vote, people.
and that's the presidential one. It's way worse for midterms and
Right.
primaries and
Oh,
stuff.
I'm not surprised. Yeah, even
So-
the local stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's too bad. Yeah. I mean, I'll never forget I was having
It
a
also
talk-
it should also be required, I think.
I agree.
Even
Well,
if you opt out
Yep.
on the
Right.
thing, it should be required.
It's true. I'm surprised they don't have it so you can just do it online. I guess there's
Well,
like some
Iowa would beg to differ.
right. True. But anyways, yeah. So that's some quick and dirty facts about the election process here in the States.
You betcha.
If you want to know more, let us know at untranslatablepodcast@gmail.com, or if you have some untranslatables to send our way. Also, check out our pictures on Instagram, Untranslatable Podcast. You can see some pictures of the fancy sticker. I can't believe we didn't talk about the sticker. I feel like that's the whole motivation
yeah.
between people going to vote is get that I voted
Mine's
sticker.
somewhere around here because it was in the envelope. Maybe I threw it away.
Oh, there you go.
But I feel like, why would I do that?
Shouldn't have
I'm trying
thrown
to
it away.
minimize my life.
Surprise. That's true, Jared. Anyways, lastly, please, 5-star reviews on iTunes and Stitcher. Let us know how we can make this podcast better for you. So, as we say here at the Untranslatable Podcast, Dziękujemy, muchas gracias, and do svidaniya.